I got me notes. I've been very more efficient recently making notes, so that's all good. So tonight we are going to be exploring. I've noticed I've not put my light on. Hang on a minute. There we go. Tonight we're going to be exploring identity and change, the subtle ways that we can become entangled with who we think we are. And in change work, and that's whether you're working with other people or just working on your own stuff, we often look at beliefs, habits, and patterns. But beneath all of that is the identity, the quiet I am that shapes everything we do. And so our aim tonight isn't to fix or label anything. It's just to look at ways to loosen that fixed idea of who we think we are, to create space around the stories we tell ourselves about ourselves so that something deeper, something freer can just breathe its way through. And it's a fascinating area to and level to work at. You might like to think of it as a journey inward to meet the self that exists before we start labeling ourselves. The one that was there before you learned to say, I am this, or I am that. And I ams can really hold us back and restrict us. But let's begin just by arriving and putting the day behind a little bit. So let's take a couple of nice deep breaths together. Breathing in, hold it, and breathe out. Breathing in, hold it, breathe out. Breathing in, hold it, and breathe out. And just notice where you're sitting. Or lying. Notice your feet. Are they on the floor? Are they raised up? Is your body feeling supported right now? And as you become aware of these things, let's just allow a little time to allow yourself to just arrive here now. And through tonight, allow your curiosity to be soft. We're not trying to change who you are, only to see who you've never not been, which is a wonderful thought. So when we look at change work, again, whether it's our own personal working on our stuff and ourselves or helping others, we quite often meet two levels of structure. We have belief, and we've looked at limiting beliefs in the past, and we have identity. So a belief says, I can't do this because people don't like me, because I'm not confident enough. And it describes what we think about the world or ourselves. An identity says, I am anxious. I am lazy. I am broken. I am the kind of person who. So identity is like the deep script running under the program, the part of the mind that says, this is who I am and this is how life must be for me. There's some people I know, and I think I vaguely recall maybe using them as reference before, but one of them always says, I'm not somebody who's ever destined to have a lot of money. So they're not just believing that they can't have a lot of money. They're actually identifying and saying, I am someone that will never have a lot of money. I mean, if anything's going to stop you from having a lot of money, it's identifying as being somebody that cannot have a lot of money. Beliefs change easily, relatively, once they're seen, once they're questioned a little bit. A belief, a lot of the beliefs, especially the ones that hold us back, can collapse quite quickly. Once we realize that the belief is just an idea, and that idea possibly doesn't serve us like it used to when we first adopted it. But identity defends itself, because to question it feels like death to the ego. The ego goes, I am. And if suddenly we question that or challenge that, the ego's like, oh, don't like this. What are you doing? And yet every time we soften our grip on identity, something remarkable can happen. We don't disappear, but we expand. And if you think back, I remember, might have been last year, we looked at the method of taking blocks and personal beliefs and identifying the different us's that are aware of it. So you'd be like, okay, there's the idea. I'm going to take that example I use. So the idea that I'm somebody that can never have money. Where do you feel that within you? What's it look like? What shape is it? What color is it? And where's the part of you that's aware of that? It might be back here, and okay, blah blah. What's that look like? What's that like? And where's the part of you that's aware of that? That's aware of that? And we expand it out until we get no further. It's just like becomes ethereal. And then we did something where we asked that part to just collapse and join something bigger, something greater. And so when we let go of our grip on identity, when we the whole phrase of hold on tightly, let go lightly, when we let go of that, it allows for that part of us to expand, to become part of something bigger, to bring us closer to a state of kind of oneness within ourselves, really. So tonight we're going to look at 3 gentle ways to loosen the boundaries of identity and rediscover who we are beneath the struggle. So tool number 1, I am not. And so I'm going to invite you to take a moment to think of something within your life that feels limiting, or something that feels stuck in your life. So it doesn't have to be anything deep, but maybe a habit, a fear, a pattern that you repeat where you kind of go, oh, I'm doing that thing again. And if you've both got something, just give me a quick thumbs up. There we go. Oh, look, it's got a thumbs up from Sally there. It floated up my screen. Is that where we hold our hands like this and it automatically mimics it if we keep it still? Unless it's mine. Oh no, there you go. I've got a thumbs up. There we go. So we've both got something. So when you think about that, notice the words that come with it. Quite often they'll start with, I am stuck, means you're identifying as being stuck. I'm the kind of person who never succeeds. I'm the kind of person who no one listens to. I'm the kind of person who always gets taken advantage of. Those kind of things. So what I'm going to also now invite you to do is, just for a moment, quietly say the opposite, not to try and convince yourself, but to simply explore. So if you just pick something like I'm anxious, you would say, I'm not my anxiety. I'm not my role. I'm not this story. And just as you say it, just sit with it. There's a practice that I was introduced to years ago where you basically deconstruct yourself with this. You have a book, and anything and everything comes up that you identify, you write in it, I am not. And it starts with, I am not my job. If you work in a bank, I'm not the bank manager. I am, but it's not who I really am. So I'm not a bank manager. I'm not my job. I'm not my work. I'm not the driver that drives me to work. I'm not the person that owns that car. And you keep deconstructing. I am not. I am not. And you may even choose when you've focused on something. So let's say, let's think. Maybe you've got, you're choosing, you get anxious in certain situations. Let's say when you first walk into a place to go and have a meal, you get anxious, and then you're anxious about choosing the right food, and then you're anxious about whether people are watching you when you eat. So I'm not my anxiety. I am not the worry about people watching me. I'm not that anxiety about picking the right thing. And then you might add in, I am the space in which this experience arises. So what I'm going to invite you to do now is share with us one I am that you've been carrying. Just share it out, speak it out. And then I invite you to say the opposite. So you are not that thing. I'll start. One thing I'm carrying at the moment is this identifying as I am someone that's struggling to get a new job. Because if I identify that, that means every time I apply, I'm going to see it as a struggle. So actually, I'm not someone struggling to get a job. And then once you've said it, just be aware of what shifts, how it feels before and after. Back on, we should continue. So yeah, and I do recommend it. I recommend it as a practice, even if you do it for like a week and once a day, sitting down with a brew and just making a list of things that you would normally identify as being and just putting the opposite, stating the opposite. You know, I am someone's partner. Well, I'm not someone's partner. You know, I I am, and you can do it with all things, but it works best if you focus in on the kind of those areas where we feel blocked. You know, I'm not learning this. I'm someone that's not getting this. I'm not the person that's not getting this. Well, if I'm not the person that's not getting this, then surely I can start to get this and understand it. And again, we're not with any of this trying to fix or explain. It's just a way of exploring. And sometimes you might find layers within that I'm not. I'm not even the person that's monitoring this and thinking about what I'm not right now. I think there's a Buddhist practice where you do this to the point where there is nothing left that you are, and then you reach enlightenment and oneness. So our second tool is recognizing the self beyond the problem. So what I'd invite you to do is to bring to mind something that once felt impossible for you. Something you thought you would never be able to do or achieve, but something you've already grown through. So you used to think it was impossible. It felt impossible, but since then it's actually something you've done. And as you begin to remember that, I want you also to begin to remember how you used to define you and how it used to define you. So, for instance, if you used to have a fear of heights and you could never go up a tower to experience a wonderful view, you might have identified and said, well, you know, I'm somebody that misses out because I can't deal with heights. But if you now have done that thing and you've been up like a tower and seen the view and enjoyed being at high places and the benefits it brings, how does that not define you anymore? Because you're no longer what was. So just pick something you used to think was impossible, something you've worked your way through. Just remember how it used to define you, and then how it doesn't anymore. Because you might say quietly that before, when it felt impossible, that version of you was real, but it wasn't all of you. And allow yourself to sense the part of you that has watched every version of you come and go. That part of you that has watched you face every challenge that maybe felt like you could not, but you then succeeded and got through. That part of you that watched you go through school and learn things, that part of you that watched you with your first job and all the things that you felt impossible, all the things you used to think were you, become aware of that part that watched that you and is now watching the you that you are, and will still be there watching the you have yet to become. Just sense that part of you, that silent awareness that was there before the problem, during it, and after. This is the self beyond the problem, the unchanging witness of change itself. And the more you begin now to rest in that awareness, the less grip any single identity can have. So allow yourself to rest in the awareness of that self beyond the problem. the observer, the witness to change itself. And the more you rest in that awareness, the less of a hold, the less of a grip on any single identity. And the less grip those identities can have. And I wonder, what is it you notice as you connect with that part of you that observes, that watches the problem? What do you notice as you connect now with the part of you that observes the problem rather than is the problem? So think of a problem that you're identifying with and become aware of that observer, that part that witnesses the problem, rather than the problem itself. And as you do that, how does that change the way you see yourself? On to our third tool. So the final part of this, final tool for loosening our grip. Remember, we're not looking at chiseling away, breaking up and destroying identity, because that's when the ego goes, don't do this, I'm not, that's when it fights back. What we're looking at is just softening the hold to allow the possibilities in, which I think, Anne, what you said is very much illustrates that. So again, I'm going to take you through this. I'm going to invite you now to just imagine that the deepest, truest version of you, the one who lives without that struggle, already exists. Just imagine that. Whatever the challenges that you chose to look at, imagine that deeper, truer version of you. The one who lives without that challenge, without that struggle, already exists. Not in some distant future, but as a possibility that's always been here, waiting for space. See them, sense them, standing or sitting somewhere ahead of you. As you begin to become aware of them, notice their posture, their ease, their way of being. And now let yourself drift toward them until you can feel what it's like to live as that version of you. Notice how they breathe. Notice how they look at life. How they hold the same memories, but with a different meaning. And now, quietly ask, what have you learned that I have not yet? What have you learned that I have not yet? What do you want me to know right now? What do you want me to know right now? Allow the answers to arrive as words, images, sensations, however they come. And when you're ready, imagine merging with that self, as if the boundary between who you were and who you are becoming dissolves. And you don't have to become them. You already are. So take a deep breath. Just breathe in that you. So let's just take a nice, slow, deep breath. And let your eyes close as you breathe out. And tonight, with the exercises we've looked at, we've traveled through layers of identity. The stories, the beliefs, the masks. We've also touched the quiet self beneath it all. And this part of you isn't new. It's the same awareness that's always been there. But when we approach it like this, you simply remember. So when we finish tonight, notice how easily the mind will try to reclaim its labels. I am this. I am that. And each time, let yourself smile gently and whisper, I am not only that. And allow this to be your practice. A soft remembrance of who you are beyond your history, beyond your roles, and beyond the struggles. So let's take a couple of 3 deep breaths together again. Breathing in. Hold it. Breathing out. Breathing in. Hold it. Breathing out. Breathing in. Hold it and breathe out. And just become aware of your body again, the room round about you. Just allow yourself to be here. Allow yourself to be now. That'll be extra work for me now. I'll have to tag it all together. Won't take long. So, thanks for being here tonight. And if you're watching this again, thank you for watching it. And thank you for showing up, not to become someone else, but to remember that the you that's always been free. And as you move into the week ahead, you may notice small moments when you naturally act more like your future self, or times when you pause before identifying with an old pattern. Those are the signs of transformation. Quiet, gentle, and profound. So be kind to yourself, and remember, change isn't about becoming someone new. It's about letting go of who you're not.